Dave, Dustin May tomorrow, I think it'll be the first time on 4 days rest. How much of that is just where he's progressed and how much of that is just the need of the rotation?
I think it's more the need of the rotation. I think he's physically able to handle it. Our rotation certainly needs it, and to not have the ability really to drop somebody in. And I think the progression is kind of fitting and kind of the timing is good for this.
Is there a through line you'll be able to see with Yamamoto the last few where the command hasn't been quite as sharp as it was the first?
You know, we were trying to dig into that because the last two specifically, he's just been off just a little bit. And he's obviously got such good command, so when it's not on, it's more kind of noticeable, I guess. I know that Mark said his work before this start was really good. There's not a health component. And so I would expect him to be kind of back on par with what he normally does as far as the command tonight.
I'm kind of saying when he got up to that hot start, like he's looking like he's becoming an ace. Like how much of that is starts like today where you kind of have to be a stopper, kind of get things right, especially for the pitching staff, get things kind of
This is one of those starts. I mean, obviously we're mired in a losing streak, and you know, he's our ace, and so he's you know, kind of had a couple pedestrian outings, his last two, but he's obviously had a fantastic start to the season. But these are the nights that you need your ace to be a stopper and go deep in a game.
How far off does he seem from the guy you had last month? Kind of where he was?
Not far off, not far off. I think at times he's the same guy. It's honestly, it's been two starts where I think that the bar for him is a certain level. And so I just think that, you know, they're just, and he's still been fine, but not to what we've expected. So I think that that's a compliment to him and his ability. But tonight, I think, yeah, I think Yoshi's going to be really good tonight.
How big a difference would it make if Yoshinobu comes out and is able to put up a 0 in that first inning with you know, the way teams have been scoring versus the past couple games?
That'll be helpful to start out with a 0 in the top half of the inning. You know, our hitters aren't. It's just, it gets frustrating. It does, and I think the pitching side of things is frustrated by it too. So yeah, that's the start. To start with a 0.
It's been about a week or so with Conforto. They see like the hard contact's been there. Like how frustrating is it that maybe the results still haven't quite caught fire the way you kind of would expect when the contact's kind of trending the way it has?
Yeah, Michael's he's being tested right now because, you know, I think that there was a point where Muntz was starting to swing the bat better, and then they finally started falling. And Michael, I think the last, you know, handful of days has swung the bat better and just really not getting a whole lot of results with that. He's in a good spot. I'm sure he's frustrated. I'm going to have him down tomorrow just to kind of, it's going to be 8 in a row and then give him 2 days to get ready for the Mets. But I applaud his work and his consistent, you know, effort. And he's not running from it, you know, and that's something that isn't always easy when you're struggling.
But the contact's kind of like the way it has been. Is it one of those things where you just keep running around there just knowing that eventually that those things will turn, or is that one of those things where eventually things kind of have to break a certain way?
Obviously things have to break a certain way. I think for me is I look at how a player carries themselves day to day. If the struggles are getting to them emotionally, that's a flag for me, a marker. Michael hasn't shown any of that, and I do think that the quality of the bat, the quality of contact is trending, and that's something that I'm willing to bet on that, as well as you bake in the track record too.
Is that just bad luck that contact hasn't led to better results, or are there things even when he is hitting the ball hard?
I think that some of it is bad luck, but I do think that some of it is bat path related. I think that, not to get too deep, but the game is created when you take a good swing with a good bat path, that more times than not, if you swing good pitches, you're going to get hits. And if that's what I believe. And so when you don't have a good bat path, players seem to be where you're hitting them. And so, you know, there's a reason Freddie's thrown out 2,300 hits, and, you know, Guys like Derek Jeter have 3,000 hits. You know, I think they've had good bat paths. So that's something I think that Michael's mindful of and just kind of continuing to work through too.
This is such a good point.
What you got, Kirsten?
Oh, sorry, in the lineup today, just no Teo, no Tommy, was that something that you had maybe considered staggering them? Or was it something you saw maybe last night?
You know what, it is something I thought about. I was kind of thinking for sure I wanted to give Tommy today off to not go 4 in a row. With Teo, I just felt that, you know, Burns tomorrow, and I just felt like having him in there tomorrow, and I just couldn't guarantee that he could go 3 in a row, and so just feeling that, you know, getting Pies back in there, Will's back in there, I just felt that was kind of, I feel good with where we're at, and I'm also trying to not play the short game as far as Teo and Tommy, and making sure that we can get through this off day with those guys feeling good.
Conforto the bat path, is that maybe why, like, when he is pulling the ball, it's usually on the ground, when it's in the air, it's usually the other way?
That's
That's sort of
correct.
like why you're kind of,
Have you seen that with him kind of the whole season, or is it more of the back half, like a more recent?
For me, it's been the whole season, and he's working through. I mean, not you know, there's some good swings in there certainly, but I think overall, it's a little bit of bat path situation for me, because I think he's controlling the strike zone pretty well, really well.
When you guys have as much success as you do, like, do 4-game losing streaks feel like a lot longer than just 4 games?
You know, it just, I guess it's still losing, I guess, but I still like how we're going about things. It doesn't feel good to play from behind, but I would argue that losing late probably feels worse, which we're really haven't given ourselves a chance to do that one. But honestly, the guys are fine. We're fine. It's part of a long baseball season, so I don't think anyone's fretting. And you know, our guys, we've been through this. And I would probably say last year at this time we were probably going through something like this, and Rome didn't burn, and so we're still a good ball club, and we're going to get healthy, and we're going to be okay.
And 1 week later,
Yeah.
last week.
There you go. Thanks, Jack.
Dave, after a great Dodger win, Vin Scully once said, if you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky. It's Mexican Heritage Night at the stadium tonight. What does the Mexican-American fan base mean to the team, as well as some of the players that have worn Dodger blue?
Well, the Mexican fan heritage night is huge. It's a big part of our fan base and has been for, you know, quite some time, decades. Very knowledgeable, very passionate. Obviously, we think of Fernando. You know, there's been some great Dodgers of Mexican heritage, and I just, you know, I think about that pavilion and micheladas. There's a lot of micheladas tonight that are going to be sold. But just a lot of pride in who they are, and to have that Mexican fan base supporting the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Again, we're very grateful, and that's part of what makes the Dodgers so fantastic. Yeah.
Shohei earlier, he was practicing throwing a slider. So it seems like it's progressing.
It is progressing, and I'm not sure when it's going to take that, if he's going to take that slider from the flat ground to the bullpen, but that is progress, yes.
Next plan, what's the next step?
The next step is, again, I think it's an up-down on Saturday.
The up-downs and like the adding in the breaking pitches, were these like pre-scheduled kind of steps up in his progression, or these?
To then do simulated against hitters, correct.
So these are signs that like he's kind of out of the static stage that he was.
Yeah, and even I think the last time it was 25 pitches versus 20, so that's kind of adding some volume to the pens as well.
How close does this mean he is to like getting into a live situation?
You know what? I really wish I had an answer. I'm just waiting for the green light from, you know, people that are sort of managing the Shohei rehab day to day.
Do you look at, I guess, Tyler and Blake as before Shohei? Do you kind of see that, or just considering Shohei's progression is arguably further along than theirs? Or do you look at that timeline as like 2 different timelines?
I would say Tyler would be before, And then with Blake and Shohei, I couldn't answer that. But I'm pretty convicted that Tyler will be the first one coming back.
Tyler, I think he had a flag round too. Do you have any throw distance?
No, I don't. I don't yet.
Any progression of the next or just more flat?
He's going to throw a bullpen. He's going to get off the mound today and just kind of throw off the mound. It's not going to be a bullpen. It's just getting on the slope. And then, as we sit here on Tuesday, so my assumption is 3 days later, it'll look like a normal bullpen. So that's probably the next step.
And he's still staying back, right?
He's going to stay back, correct? Yes. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.